Hello, hello. This is Jen. I hope everybody's good. I'm here with an energy update. So, welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're not new. Thank you for being here. So, we're right in between the two eclipses of June, and it brought, first eclipse brought like a load, a huge shift, new energies as always. And really, this one, it was very deep and determined, if I can say it this way, because there is no going back. There's just one way to look, and it's forward. And I had to take a moment to integrate those new energies and figure out what they meant for me. And yeah, so I'm here, and what they mean for the collective. Um, but as far as I can tell, is that there's a lot of movement and a lot of clouds, meaning that there is so much movement that it's creating some kind of interference. No, that's not the right word. I'm sorry, but it's creating like, like you're in the bottom of the ocean or a lake and you start making movements with your feet. It's going to create a cloud of sand and water, just like that. Just like that. So it's the storm before the sun. And we're in the middle of it. And as we go towards the summer solstice and the next eclipse, we're going to be receiving more new energies. We're going to see more changes and see lots of differences in people. This is the main energy of this eclipse, is how it affected people. That mixed with the quarantine and the confinement, a lot of people have been called to go inward, which is awesome. And this eclipse is bringing the energies of integration physically for those that are ready. So over the weekend, the energies were settling in, and it might have created a storm inside of you, because these energies are no joke. Like, be ready to have your entire universe shaken, and be ready to dig deep, because these energies, they don't give chances. It's really, we're going forward, and you're coming with me whether you know it or not. And so they're gonna bring out like really deep stuff and old stuff that you might have forgotten about, and it may come up as a surprise. And on the other end, it may just bring like energies, like overall energies of anger, sadness, and you not knowing why. That's probably because you're in a twin flame connection and you're picking up on your twin flame. um, Anger is a big theme. Like, there was a lot of anger lingering in the collective, unsolved, unresolved issues, situations, unforgiveness, misalignment, and these energies have no mercy. There's no space for this kind of energy to be present in people. So whether you want it or not, it's going to come out, and it's going to feel different this time. So if you haven't been purging in the past few days, perhaps you will in the next few days. And it's a different kind of purge. It's a very physical purge. Physical, like you may start feeling all kinds of stuff physically. All those ascension symptoms that you probably know by now may be all mixed up together during that purge to help you release. And you may be triggered in all kinds of ways. You may be finding yourself thinking about something or someone that, has nothing to do with the real emotion behind. That's just a trigger. The universe works this way. They use triggers. So they may, bring back to your memory some old stuff that you're like, what? But this is solved. That's just the way to access the emotion that needs to get out. And yes, anger, huge, huge, huge these days, especially for the divine masculine. They are lost, they are confused, they are at their end, the end of their ropes. They're like, what am I supposed to do in this situation? And they have no idea. Some do, but the majority don't. They just don't know. They can't seem to figure out that this is spiritual ascension, this is spiritual awakening. Uh, a lot of them don't even know that we had an eclipse, and they don't realize that all this tension that they're feeling inside, it's for their own good, but also it's meant to help them release whatever they were hanging on to, because a lot of them were resisting like so many things, that now the universe is like, no, 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 no. If you think you're going to have it your way, no, no, no. It's the divine way. It's the divine plan that will always supersede everything else. So there you go, my friend. And they're going to be pushed into releasing those things, those people, those situations. And above all of that, for the collective, divine feminine, divine masculine, like so much activity around the solar plexus and the heart chakra, like really we are expanding our heart chakra, especially the divine masculine. They are aligning their mind with their heart in moving on from a mind-based living to a heart-based living, and it's expanding their chakras. When that happens, we usually have chest pains or palpitation or what feels like anxiety. It's really uncomfortable. I know it is for me. It's extremely, extremely uncomfortable, since it is like the engine of our entire being and existence. It's very powerful when we have an upgrade of the heart chakra. And for me, it shows up very physically with palpitation and really chest pains, really weird pain. I have no words to explain what it feels like. It just feels like my heart is bigger than my body can handle. And it just feels like it's trying to make its way into my body, but there's no space, kind of thing. And it becomes more normal after a while. So we're about halfway into that cycle. And we're basically overall, as a collective, very close to a tipping point of this ascension, of this phase, with everything going on, the virus, the events, the what's happening with the riots, with all of that is part of the spiritual awakening and ascension. So people are waking up, and we can totally clearly feel that tipping point coming. And what does that mean? It just means that after we're past that tipping point, where most of the work is done, we're going to start seeing the effects of these changes, of these shifts that we're making, instead of feeling that we're only working without seeing or reaping the rewards of our work. It's coming. We are close. It's on an individual basis, of course. It's not going to happen all at once for everyone. It's going to happen when you are ready to get there and to accept it. So for a lot of people, that time is coming. And if we look in business, what we call a tipping point is, it's what makes you go to that next level, what makes you go big, what makes you explode, what makes your business explode. And if you look in a graph, usually when you reach that point, in business we call it the kickoff, but the tipping point is also the same thing. When you reach that point, usually there's a huge ascension curve that follows that until you reach a level of maturity. Whether you're selling a product or a service, you reach a level of maturity where things get more easier. Sales come more easily. So if we transpose that into spirituality, that tipping point, it will have the same effect. We're going to be on the other side of all the work that we've been putting in. So it's going to get easier, softer, more gentle. which is needed at this time, especially with all these riots going on. I mean, this is crazy enough that everybody's feeling what's going on when it comes to the riots. And what is important to do is to do our share of this shift. These riots are here to help us embed that change for good and not go back to old ways. I mean, I can't believe that in 2020 we're dealing with stuff like that. I mean, to me, it's like unbelievable. But other than that, because the point of this update is not the riots, not at all, but spiritual ascension and awakening. Solar plexus and heart chakra upgrade, and that's going to keep going until the next eclipse, and then after we're going to integrate even more. So this in-between phase until we reach the next eclipse, just take it easy. Just Netflix and chill, do whatever you need to bring your vibration up and to stay in a state of joy at all times, if possible. When you're not in a state of joy, do something to shift that energy right away so that you can stay aligned and stay in line with your path, because a lot of people have been merging timelines or jumping timelines and shifting their direction, shifting their direction towards their mission, receiving new information about their own mission and realizing, oh, 3 years ago, I thought my mission was this and that, and now it feels like it's more like 2 or 3 degrees to the left kind of thing. Not like a huge change, but a change, or things are clearer now for you when it comes to your mission. And when I talk about mission, because this is my way of seeing it, I don't mean to say that I'm right. If you resonate with that, fine. If you don't, that's fine also. But this is my way of seeing things, is that if we're here at this time, if you're here listening to me, listening to other stuff, you're here for a reason. And because of the decisions that we've been making or that we took, it can happen that your mission can shift a little. I mean, nothing is written in stone, really. It's, everything can change according to the choices that we make. So perhaps at this point you are realizing that 3 or 2 or 1 year ago you thought your mission was something very specific when it comes to your twin flame or this and that, and you may now realize that at the end of the day, your real mission is about being a light worker and sharing the love and those vibrations with your entire being, with or during any kind of activity that you're doing, even if it's something small like going to the gas station to fill up your car, spreading those vibes. That's the basis of all mission. And then there's another layer that really applies to you, that is in accordance to your gifts, your spiritual gifts, and what you do in life, and what you're called to do, your passions. I have a passion for business. I have a passion for many other things, for music, for spirituality, of course. And I clearly know that my mission is spread across all these areas. And it is also in relation to my twin flame connection. And for most people, part of their mission was to help the twin awaken and to help as many people with their awakening. It doesn't have to be a spiritual business. We've seen this before, and we got to mix or integrate spirituality into the world that we live in now. So having a spiritual business is not for everyone, but bringing spirituality in your business is for everyone. That's the way I see it. It's totally doable to bring spirituality into the business world. No matter what you do, it's totally doable to bring spirituality in your work. That it starts with your mindset. Wow. Sorry, I have a hard time speaking. It starts with your mindset and what you vibe, what you put out there. So just think about it for a moment. And that's why the solar plexus is so active. Like, so many people are out of sync with their solar plexus because we're receiving so much information. It seems to never be um, slow. It seems like it's never stopping. It usually translates into feeling pushed to do things, feeling almost anxious. And, in psychology, anxiety is always backed or motivated by something that you need to do. That's why you feel anxious. That's because you need to do something and you're not doing it. Sometimes it's not clear as that. Sometimes you're like, what am I supposed to be doing? I feel anxious, but I don't know why. And you try different things until you feel better. But anxiety is always triggered by your body telling you should be doing this instead of what you're doing right now. So the divine masculine is discovering all of these things, and they're being like drastically woken up. Like, if I look back at my past few updates, I kept on repeating it's the universe saying, you know what, dude, we've been giving you the clues, we've been giving you the synchronicity. Now this phase is done. You're just moving forward. No matter what you say, that's why you're here. So you're moving in that direction. So that's what's happening with the divine masculine. They're drastically being shaken and taken down so that they can rebuild themselves in alignment with their soul and their higher self, their own personal mission. They are awakening even further into the twin flame connection. For the majority of them, they cannot stop thinking about the divine feminine. I think I mentioned that in my last update, how they are mesmerized by the strength that the divine feminine carries. How the divine feminine can be strong and soft at the same time, strong and gentle, and juggle with those two energies, and switch from one to the other, whenever it can be applied. And they can't stop thinking about their divine feminine, realizing how and why they showed up, why they were feeling this way. Now it's starting to make sense. All these emotions that they could not handle at the beginning, that made them run into their own little, hiding spot there. It's starting to make sense for them, and they're starting to understand, oh, okay, when I feel that emotion that starts at the end of my spine, and when I feel it go up in my spine, it means something. So it's the force of life, it's the Kundalini rising. And for a lot of them, when they met their twin flame, they could not handle that energy because it was so strong. And for a lot of them, they were so used to controlling their emotions, hiding their emotions, and now they can't. They don't have that possibility anymore. They can only be vulnerable, even during their working time. They are being vulnerable, they are being more transparent with their emotions, but also with their thought, because they cannot hide anymore. And if they try to, well, most of the time it doesn't work. It doesn't work because people will call them out. So as far as the collective go, a lot of people are already anchored in the new world, in the new way of living with these new energies. And again, if you haven't seen the Loris Cannon's video on the 3 waves of volunteers, go and watch it. Read the book if you can too, but go at least watch her video on YouTube. You're going to learn a lot. This is a message that I was called to share again because a lot of people are looking for this information. Going back just a little bit to the divine masculine, I was saying how more transparent they are and vulnerable they are. Remember when you started awakening and you realized that you were a light worker and that you were different? that you were different than the collective, that those times where you were questioning yourself, why does this always happens to me? Whether a good or bad situation, but most of the time a good situation. You know, that time when you realized I'm a light worker and I'm here for a mission. I've always known it, I've always felt it. I just wasn't sure what the details of all of that were. That's what the divine masculine is going through. They have a hard time sleeping for a lot of them because they are receiving so much downloads at night in regards to their mission, to their next steps. Like the plan is being delivered to them pieces by pieces, piece by piece, detail by detail, one clue after another. And they're being asked to really connect with those powers that they have and not rely on the mental aspects of things, but to rely on their hearts and their body, the wisdom that the body holds. And that goes for the entire collective. If you call yourself a light worker, if you resonate with that word, get prepared to have your body expanded even more. Not meaning that you're going to gain weight, but meaning that your body is going to become even more sensitive, even more thermometer of the overall energy. If you thought it was intense before, it's going to get a little bit more intense for you, meaning that the gap in between, or the time in between your body receiving the information and relaying that information to your brain and you becoming aware of this, is shortened, shorter than it ever was before. It's like instant now. So it sometimes translates into you jumping for no reason because you're reacting to something. That's your body telling you, pay attention to this, pay attention to this energy, because there is something there, whether it's good or bad. So pay attention to those physical sensations. When we go through chakra upgrades, then our body integrates everything and every cell that we have, and we become more sensitive. So it's becoming even more a second nature for most people, and the divine masculine that is trying to understand what is going on on that level. There are also aligning to their mission. And for most of them, they're not enjoying themselves right now. You know, some have been going back to work and it's making their lives a little bit more difficult because of all the precaution that needs to be taken for them to execute their work. And it's making them think even more, realize even more, go inward even more, questioning themselves. Is that really why I'm here? Is that really my mission here? Is that really what I want to do for the rest of my life? Or do I want to give this or that a chance? And their higher self is constantly putting that into their consciousness, pulling on them, kind of thing, pushing that information. Of course, they don't, you know, push it to the point to that it's making you crazy, but they're always sending that message out. So besides all of that, most people in the collective are also going through a major body shift. Like the body is working to structure itself differently. It's working so super hard, and that's directly linked to the chakra expansion. As energies are being released from all bodies, emotional, energetic, physical, and mental body, the physical body itself usually changes structures. So this is where we see changes in the way we look. And a lot of people are going through this right now, and it can manifest itself very differently for different people. And when we reach that point, usually it's because that cycle is ending The work, the spiritual work has been integrated physically, so we're getting ready to end this cycle so we can start a new one. That ending of the cycle is going to happen very shortly for a lot of people before the next eclipse, because the next cycle will start at the next eclipse. So we're in for a really good ride for the rest of June and July. Really fun stuff though. Fun in the way that it could be uncomfortable to go through these shifts and changes because it's demanding, but also at the same time, when you see the result of this, it makes you happy and it makes you feel good. So this is what's going on for the collective, and it's because these changes are so deep. We can see it in people. They're either grumpy or they're either really happy and in a really good mood. There's a mix of everything out there right now. And for a lot of people, we're seeing them change. They've been able to connect to themselves much more because they had some time to do that. And they're now more clear about their direction that they need to take. And if you don't feel that you're more clear, that's okay. Your turn will come. It will come. You won't be left out. It will come. There is no way that you can miss this, really, unless you are totally, totally disconnected from yourself. And if you've been watching videos on YouTube or other platform, you can see a lot of people coming out there and talking about spiritual stuff. It's becoming really part of everyday life for a lot of people. And that shift, that was the purpose of that shift, to bring spirituality back, because we lost it. We lost it. We were told so many things by so many people who wanted to control stuff. You know, when you think about the fact that the Bible has been messed up with and stuff has been excluded or changed or taken out of the Bible, that's crazy when you think about it. It's like, what were these people thinking about? They didn't want this knowledge to be known, and it's coming back. So again, the more people that are awakening, the more people that are working on themselves and aligning to their own path, the better the world will be. Like, be the change you want to see in the world. That's where it starts. And we're seeing it right now. It's really unfolding before our eyes. You may not see it with your immediate surrounding, but look a little deeper or further and you're going to see those changes. On that same subject, more and more people are going to start meeting their soul family, connecting with new people, connecting with people that they're aligned with, and their reality is about to change drastically. So words of encouragement, that's what's coming up. Words of encouragement about not giving up, about, keeping our eyes on the prize and just focusing on our own well-being before helping others. Of course, if you have kids or you need to take care of someone, it applies, but differently, of course. But really, words of encouragement, like just keep doing what you're doing and things will all get cleared out for you to find yourself and your path. So that's it for now. You can follow me on social media at IndigoGirl555 on Instagram, Indigo Girls Readings on Facebook. You can also use my email at indigogirl555 at gmail.com. And until the next time, be well.